There are three companies. There is Wolt, there is Uber Eats, and there is Foodora. Then there are some smaller companies, but these are the predominant ones. So I wanted to talk about how much you can earn and what does it take for you to become a rider. So depending on your paperwork and depending on what you want to ride, if you're riding a motorcycle or a car or a bicycle or an electric bike, obviously, the options of earning are dependent on that. I think as a rule of thumb, if you're on a car, then you would probably end up making more. But there's a problem because I did food delivery on the car as well. Oof, a wind chill. And I ended up getting a few parking tickets. And obviously, in a car, the fuel is more expensive. You also end up paying the car tax, which is biannual. So I shifted to a motorcycle. A lot of food delivery drivers in Malmo, they do food delivery on mopeds. And when you're on a moped, then you can drive around on bicycle streets where the speed limit is only 25 kilometers per hour. And I just don't have the patience to drive at 25 kilometers per hour. That's why I chose to be on a motorcycle. Having said that, everyone cannot be on a motorcycle. Obviously, you need a driver's license. And I'm assuming a lot of moped drivers don't have a motorcycle license. But if you have a motorcycle license, then you can apply. My experience, it takes between 6 months to 8 months to get on board with companies like Wolt or Uber Eats. It also depends on which season you're applying in. If you're applying in winters, then chances of getting on board is probably quicker. I'm assuming, I'm not completely sure because I got on board in summers. Now going back to how much you can earn, let's start with Uber Eats. If you're on Uber Eats, you can work as a business, so you can register yourself as a sole proprietor. That process itself takes about 2 months or less, depending on the paperwork again. And once you become a registered sole proprietor and VAT registered, where in Sweden it's called moms, once you register, then you can apply on Uber Eats, and then whatever money you make, Uber is going to give you all of that, and then you are responsible for your own taxes and for your own VAT, which can be tricky if you're not good at taxes. So I would not recommend going on that route. But if you are good at taxes and you can run your own VAT system appropriately and efficiently, then you'll end up making a little more money. Typically, if you are working, 6 to 7 days a week, and you're doing lunch run and dinner run, then you could make, maybe between 23,000 to 27,000 gross a month. And if you're really pushing it, you can probably make 30,000 if you're really pushing it, and pushing it meaning 10, 12 hours every day. I mean, I have seen some rare people do that. I've never done that. Because obviously your safety should be your number one concern. I mean, if you're driving so much, then obviously eventually you'll end up being so freaky tired that you just don't want to mess with your life. You don't want to risk it. Now, coming to Wolt, you could a few months ago you could have worked with Wolt again as a sole proprietor, as a business, but in October last year they stopped doing that. So you have to go through an umbrella company. There's two companies. There's Cool Company, and then there is Invoice Business. Obviously you apply on Wolt's website, and once they decide that they want you on board, then you go through Cool Company or Invoice Business. So you become their employee. And once you've been onboarded, then I've been told that these umbrella companies take maybe 3% of your earnings, but I mean, I'm not really sure. But what happens is at the end of the month, once you calculate everything, the money that you earn, the taxes have already been taken out, and the VAT has already been taken out. Well, you won't be VAT registered anyway. So basically, the taxes will be taken care of. So if you're working full time on Wolt, maybe you can earn between 17,000 to 21,000, 22,000. And again, if you're working, 6-7 days a week, again, this is my assumption. There's no hard and fast rule. It depends on how much you're working and on which motorcycle or which vehicle you're working on. So, and then the third one is Foodora. Now, Foodora is a little different. With Foodora, once you get on board, they say that this is a part-time job. They only give you 10 hours per week. Okay, and you have to do those 10 hours per week. You choose your own shift, you choose your own timings, and once you've been given a shift, you have to do that shift. And if you don't do that shift, you can give it out to someone else through the app. But if no one picks up your shift, then you have to do that shift. And if you don't, and if you miss a couple of shifts, then you can get in trouble. You can even get terminated. If you want to do more than 10 hours per week, then you have to wait for someone else to, give their shift to you via the app. And, that happens almost every day. But, it depends on how quickly you're able to pick up somebody else's shift. So, you can work for Foodora, but there's always on a daily basis a kind of stress if you'll be able to make money every day or not. And another thing with Foodora is once you start working on Foodora, they give you a lot of shifts. They give you a lot of orders, and they stack up. So you will be very, very busy. They wouldn't keep you resting even for 5 minutes. And because of that, you get paid less. So you probably would make, 15-20 kroners per delivery. But if you're doing like a 4-hour shift, you might end up earning between 400 to 800 kroners for a 4-hour shift, depending on the season. And obviously, once this is all gross. So at the end of the month, I'm not really sure how much you would make. It entirely depends on how many shifts you get. So Foodora is not a full-time work. Foodora is part-time. With Wolt and Uber, in summers, you might end up waiting a little bit. I know in summers, when I was doing Wolt, sometimes I was waiting literally for 2 hours before I would get an order. But not in winters. Winters, you get more orders. But this year round, winter is brutal. It's really, really, really hard. The snow just keeps on coming. It's snowing a little bit right now as well. Obviously, it is beautiful, but it's also risky. It's hard. I have slipped a few times, and I stopped working. I went on rest, because if you slip once and you hurt your wrist or you hurt your knee or if you hurt your hand, you will end up in the hospital and you won't work for a couple of months. So that's how things are. This is the food delivery business in Sweden. This is how it is. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you have any comments, please let me know. And if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Keep supporting my channel. I would really, really appreciate it. And let me know where you are watching me from. I want my channel to go global. So until next time, look after yourselves and each other. Ciao.